Hello, my name is Grace Sternbaum. I'm sure we are all familiar with energy drinks like Red Bull or Monster Energy drinks or just even a cup of coffee. I know me personally, I am very well aware of my caffeine consumption, and I actually end up grabbing a energy drink every single morning on my way to class, or I make myself an energy drink at work. Caffeine is such a widely used supplement within the younger generation because of its easy access, and it's always a good pick me up when you're feeling down or tired, or you just need that good boost of energy. I'm intrigued to see how is this caffeine affecting our sleep as young adults? In this presentation, I will be talking about how caffeine is not impacting the quantity of sleep we're having, but rather the quality of sleep we are receiving. This is impacting us in the age we are and the older we are getting and how this caffeine is affecting us. It's also just depends on the time of the day that you are drinking the caffeine has a great impact on your sleeping habits. And caffeine is affecting our sleep in ways that we just are not noticing because we don't feel it. In the first study, Caroline Drapeau, who is a sleep researcher from the University of Montreal conducted a study to see the difference in the sleeping habits between middle aged adults and younger adults. In this study, she realized that caffeine had a much negative impact on the middle aged adults rather than the younger aged adults. The middle aged adults just had a much harder time falling asleep. They just weren't receiving quality sleep and they actually just weren't getting deep sleep. And when you compared it to the younger adults who honestly just didn't really feel impacted in those aspects when they consumed the caffeine. In the next study, Julia Carrier from the University of Montreal wanted to see if the time of the day you are having the caffeine is impacting the amount of sleep you are receiving and how it affects your sleeping habits. I'm sure if you're a graveyard worker or you work night shift or you're planning on being a nurse, that those shifts are brutal and the caffeine is definitely much needed. But it is good to keep in mind that in this study, she realized that caffeine is actually impacting your sleeping habits during the day. It actually caused a negative impact in both of the age groups that she studied on, and they both had a really hard time falling asleep and they didn't receive a good amount of sleep or a good amount of deep sleep. So even with the hours that they did have after sleeping with the caffeine, they just weren't good quality hours of sleep because the brain was still alive. The last study I researched was from Julia Webel. She grabbed about a group of 20 young adults, young men adults, who are regular caffeine consumers, and she had them consume caffeine at normal times of the day that most people do in the mornings and maybe like the early afternoon time. She wanted to see how this caffeine was impacting their sleeping habits. In the study, she found that the caffeine actually did not impact the amount of sleep they received or the time of the day that they fell asleep, but there was a slight difference in the brain activity when you did consume the caffeine. So it was impacting these people in ways that just they don't feel or notice. This slight difference in the brain activity could be a withdrawal in the nighttime because of that continuous stimuli during the day. It's always great to keep in mind that caffeine is impacting you in different ways in your sleeping habits. This can go towards your work performance and this can be impacting your school performance because of your exhaustion from not getting that quality of sleep that your body deserves after consuming the caffeine. Caffeine is such a widely used supplement and so normalized to have about 200 milligrams of caffeine a day, and it's pushed out to be very normal. I know that I am personally guilty myself, and I know that a lot of my friends and family are too, but it is just good to keep in mind that caffeine is impacting your sleeping habits as a young adult, and to remember that as you get older, this caffeine is impacting your sleeping habits in worse ways, as well in ways that we're just not feeling or noticing, and it is good to keep that in mind. So, next time you're drinking coffee or Red Bull, just make sure you are getting that good quality of sleep that your body deserves and needs. Thank you.